Hey family, you're tuning in to the Jimmy Bonds podcast on Philadelphia Radio. Pardon any technical difficulties as we're recording live on the Zoom platform. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Jimmy. Lights, camera, action. Some people thought I quit and I ain't giving satisfaction. From a different era, writing rhymes up on napkins. What you had to say was more important. And what's good, family, and welcome to another episode of Jimmy Bonds Podcast on Philadelphia Radio. This episode is sponsored by Major Flavor Catering. I'm your host, Jimmy Bonds, along with my co-host, Ty T.Y. What's good, Ty? How you feeling?
All good in the neighborhood, JB. Live from the 215.
Live from the 215. You know, I can't forget my other co-host, lovely Miss Lucy. She's not here with us today, but today we have a special guest host, the lovely Miss Imani, all the way from Pittsburgh. What up, Imani? How you doing?
What's good? I'm good. How are y'all?
We're doing good. Thank you for joining the show. Thank you for joining us today. This is Dope Little Matinee Podcast, something in the afternoon, something different. This is what I love, family. But today, we have a great guest to talk about a very important subject. Family, and that subject is breastfeeding. You're like, what in the world, Jimmy? What are you talking about, breastfeeding? I thought it would be important to talk about this, not just from a woman's perspective, but from a male perspective. And I thought I'd get an expert on who has her own breastfeeding company. Organization, shall I say. Anyway, let me introduce you to who she is. So, first and foremost, family, you know we got to do an intro. And I didn't find my intro correctly, so excuse me for a second. Okay, here we go. So, our guest today, Ms. Khadijah Ali, is a native of Philadelphia. She's carved out a niche of her own in the field of women's health. She's the founder of Momma's Liquid Love, LLC. She's a certified breastfeeding specialist, and she advises other milky mommies on the benefits and challenges of breastfeeding. She's passionate about the value of breastfeeding, not just because she believes in the advantages of it, but because she's a milky mommy herself. She's an advocate, an advisor, an educator, a problem solver, a pathfinder, and a mom herself. I like to describe her as encouraging, compassionate, resourceful, embracing, empathetic, patient, and informed. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to Miss Khadijah Ali of Momma's Liquid Love, LLC. What up, Khadijah? Welcome to the show.
Hey.
How you doing? What's good?
How are you?
Oh, we're doing fantastic. And I thought it'd be interesting to kick this show off. Imani, won't you kick it off with the first question?
All right. Khadijah, I'm curious to know what got you started into this journey of like breastfeeding and like helping women in general. Like what got you started personally?
So like me being like when I was younger, I always like was fascinated with like pregnancy and like moms and like the whole like baby, like people having kids. Like it was just like I wouldn't say obsession, but I was just like really, I guess, obsessed with it. So like when I started, when I had my daughter at 22, I started breastfeeding her. Like I immediately knew like I'm a breastfeed. So I started it when I got home from the hospital, and immediately like it didn't work out because like I was the first time I didn't know anything. I didn't have no knowledge. And like when I went to breastfeed her, she started choking and it just scared me. And so I just started pumping. So then once I was done with like when she was done breastfeeding and everything like that, at 7 months, unfortunately, like my milk dried up. So with my son, I breastfed him for like 13 months, I would say, I think it was. And it was just, I don't know, it was just a different experience, and I really like enjoyed it. It was great, like our bonding experience. Like to this day, he's still like he's so clingy to me. So once that was over, I was just kind of like it was a bummer. So I started trying to think about like how can I still be into like the breastfeeding, like what I'm trying to say, like the breastfeeding community, like helping other moms, like trying to figure out like what kind of do to give advice and things like that. So I found something online, lactation resources and things like that. And I went and I took like the classes. It was classes online. I think this was around like end of COVID, like the end of the pandemic. And I took classes online, and they was basically I think at your own pace. So once I was done, you know, doing the classes, I got certified. I basically went over like all the information again, just so I can like keep my knowledge up and know everything, like so I can educate other moms and things like that. So I don't know. It was just like it's still interesting to me to this day. I'm learning more things and everything like that. So I don't know. It's fun, like learning new things about different like trials and tribulations, like different moms go through, and like relating to them. So I don't know. I like helping other people, especially moms.
Yeah, I have a follow-up question because now I'm wondering, do you think if like like you weren't a mom, you would still have this passion like or curiosity? Or do you think like because you're a mom,
Right.
this is why I chose this path?
I think being a mom put me on a path also because I wouldn't really be into it too much as far as like the breastfeeding, maybe like something with children, but like
Mhm.
not breastfeeding too much because I didn't know anything about it. Like I said, like with my daughter, I just went into it. So I didn't really have any knowledge. I thought it was just like, oh, latching your baby and there you go, you breastfeeding. But it's so
Yeah.
much more to it. Like it's really not just that. So yeah, I think it was just me breastfeeding and then deciding, oh, this is a passion. Like I really like learning and helping and so
Mhm. Nice.
Brother Ty, you good? Go ahead, man. I got you.
Yes, yes. Um, Khadijah, you mentioned you breastfed your daughter for 7 months and your son for 11.
like around 13 months with
Around
him.
13, around 13.
Hmm.
Now, is there a point in time, I guess, after pregnancy that a woman is unable to produce any more breast milk? Does it like cut off at a certain point in
After
time?
pregnancy, no, it actually doesn't. So the more it's like supply and demand basically. So the more you breastfeed and pump, the more milk you'll produce. And as long as
Nice.
you're, like basically keeping yourself hydrated, eating the correct things, getting enough sleep, you'll keep producing milk. So people can breastfeed as long as they, continue to produce milk, and that could be up to age 5. Like it doesn't unless you stop. So like when my daughter, I was my milk stopped because I stopped pumping with her. Like after she choked, I didn't like latch her onto my breast. I just was pumping. So like it was the summertime, I think, coming back around, and then I wanted to go outside with her. I wanted to enjoy the weather, so I slowly stopped pumping. So that was kind of my mistake, and then my milk just dried up. So it's just more so like you got to make sure you have a schedule to keep your milk flowing, and then your milk will just keep producing.
Okay. Now, are there any certain foods that a woman can eat during pregnancy to help her out with this?
During pregnancy or after?
Or I guess during and after pregnancy, as far
So
as
I
foods
was
that a woman can eat? Yes.
So my number one suggestion is water, like hydration, making sure you drink enough water. Like, um, that's the number one because like it's very important to keep yourself hydrated. The foods I would say um like grains, uh, things like protein, like certain meats, greens. Um,
Proteins. Like
What
avocados,
else? Yeah, avocados are really, yep,
avocados.
that's a good one. Um,
Okay.
like for snacks, it's like seeds. They have certain things like they have like certain cookies and things out there that some women it helps them with their milk supply, but usually it's just more so it depends on the mom and like her body. So like some moms can just drink milk drink water and just eat regular how they were eating before they were pregnant, or while they were before they were pregnant, they can eat the same way and then just continue to eat like that, and then their milk it'll be fine. But other moms have to dig a little deeper and get specifics, like specific foods that'll help them produce their milk. So yeah, it always just depends on the mom and how her milk is flowing and things like that.
Okay. JB.
One thing I'm always wondering is what are some of the misconceptions about breastfeeding? Like you always find it that there are a group of people who frown upon breastfeeding. You shouldn't be
Hmm.
breastfeeding your baby. And then there's a group of people who are like, no, you need to breastfeed your baby.
Hmm.
Like so what are some of the misconceptions that we in the public really don't know or are privy to that you have really stumbled upon yourself?
I think it's more so of the in the public. Like a lot of people frown. I don't think people more so frown upon breastfeeding. I think it's more so like in public, like if you're in a supermarket or at a park with other kids, or like amusement parks or anything like that, where it's like different families and a mom is just sitting there breastfeeding her child with no cloth or blanket over herself, and then it's just like you are exposing yourself. But that's not really the case. I mean, some people would just appreciate you to cover yourself more because their kids or like their husband is around, things like that. But I think that's the most frowned upon thing with breastfeeding, because it's nothing really bad about breastfeeding that I can say. That's just the main one. Like, I don't know. Do y'all really know anything else? Like, where do y'all hear like people say, "Oh, breastfeeding is bad because of this and this and this"?
I think. Oh, my
Go ahead,
fault.
Monty. No, go ahead. What are you
I
gonna
was gonna
say?
say, I think another avenue to take outside of just publicly showing your breast and feeding your baby, which is kind of like okay, like my baby has to eat.
Yeah.
But it could be from this like other mother perspective of like I'm better than you because I'm breastfeeding, and or you're
Yep.
not as good as me because you're feeding your baby formula.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's like, I guess, is there a better choice, or like is it just whatever works for the mom or the family? Like, I guess that's another like a point of judgment that people have with breastfeeding moms.
Wait. So what was your question?
I don't even think it was a question. But I guess, do you find that to be true? Like, do other like women, I guess, try to shame other women for their choice in breastfeeding or not?
Possibly. I'm not 100% sure because I haven't really heard, other moms really. Because I feel like I'm like out of all my sisters and like my friends, I'm like the only one kind of like they're breastfed. So, and I'm not around a lot of other moms that really breastfed. So I can't really say if it's more so like, oh, I'm better than you because I'm breastfeeding. I never felt like that. I always like try to root my sisters on to breastfeed because I'm like, it's just like a great experience. Like, it's one of them things where you miss, like, even though it's just like, it's kind of annoying sometimes because it depends on the child and they're just like always wanting to, like, you after you have your baby, you want your space sometimes because it's like, but they just want to cling to you and just like grab on you, and it's like, oh my gosh, it's annoying. But it's really like a great bonding experience. So I haven't really heard like anybody say like, oh, like I'm better than you, or feel that way. Like, no, I feel like everybody should root each other on to breastfeed or try to figure out some help. Like, that's where a referral will come in. Like, oh, I know this lactation specialist, or I know this certified breastfeeding specialist, like to help you, like to figure out why you can't. I don't see why they would like try to put another mom down because they're not breastfeeding. I don't know.
I mean, well, with that being said, what are some of the things that, like, the moms you encounter, what do they say about them not breastfeeding the whole term? I would say, or the first year. I would say, like, they say statistics show that 80% of women breastfeed. Now, I don't know if that's true, but that's what they say. And at least for the first 6 months, 80% of women breastfeed. Then after the first 6 months, that number falls dramatically.
Yeah,
So,
because I feel like at 6 months is like a cutoff for people because it's like, okay, like that's half of your first year. Like, I think I did good. You probably got all your nutrients. You're fine. So now let's start this table food, this regular milk, almond milk, and I'm done. Because some moms just want to just get kind of back to the regular life. And it's more so like me, like I'm all about my kids. So it's just like, if this is going to benefit you in a way, let's do it. Like, if I got to suffer, then I'll just suffer just so you can, get your immune system good, like everything good with you before I just worry about me. Like, we're going to continue to do this. That's just how I am.
no, I mean, I'm right there with you. And the majority of a lot of women, and I'm really talking about Black women, to be honest with you, from some of the research I've done. The majority of Black women have to kind of stop breastfeeding. They don't have the opportunity to continue breastfeeding as they would like to because they got to get back to work. It is what it is. And a lot of times they might not want to go in having to, pump every couple minutes, or in some situations, even ask their job for a room to do it. You know what I
Right.
mean? Even though it's mandated by the law,
Yeah.
a lot of them don't even want to, have to deal with that. So like,
Mhm.
what are some of the things that you kind of present to your milky mommies? What are some of the things
Just
that you tell them?
like a work, going back to work plan, like
Mm-hmm.
scheduling, like trying to figure out what, talk to your manager, your boss, supervisor, whoever, just so you can, if you want to continue um breastfeeding, we're going to make a plan so that way you won't just go into work all over the place. Like, what if you're a supervisor or you're a manager and you have to do 100 things? You need to make a plan so that way you have time to eat, to stay hydrated, to find a time in a room to pump so you're comfortable, and then store your milk, and then you can take it home and everything's good. I don't know, a plan is always, in everyday life, it's good to have because it works.
That's real.
Without one, it is you all over the place.
That's real. I mean, a lot of people don't know that like formula was actually founded, or someone found formula in 1865 in Germany. So
I think I did hear that before.
I mean, so prior to 1865, you
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? What were we doing? You know what I
Right.
mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
um, I've, because I have two kids myself, I've seen my ex have to, it was painful for her to breastfeed.
Yeah.
It was a lot of pain involved in it. A lot of, I mean, when I say visual pain, meaning I can see her have
Yeah.
that pain.
That's how Selima
Um,
was. Mm-hmm.
it's one of those things where it's like, if you're going through this kind of pain, why are we sticking through this? You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
That's
Mm,
that's kind of
yeah.
like what you think in your mind. And I've just, some of the research I've done with you was, I've seen the encouragement that you're giving the moms. I've seen I guess your push to them to continue the journey.
Mm-hmm.
Not just because of the fact of, hey, go, you're doing a great job. It was more
Yeah.
like you started this journey, and it's going to be so much, it's going to be so vital later on down the road.
Definitely.
I mean, what has been some of your kind of like things, I guess, you say to yourself, like, I have to help these women make a change? Like, what are some of the things that you think that you kind of like instilled in yourself to help them along the way?
I think about the baby more so. I think about the moms definitely, but it's just more so to let them know, like, your baby needs this. Like, your number one priority, your number one person right now is your baby. Like, once you have a baby, is you putting that child first. Like, you can't. I mean, definitely some moms are not like that, but majority of the moms put their child first. So I just try to tell them all the benefits that the baby will get, and then also the mom gets benefits also, like, but just letting them know, like, this is going to work for your baby, this is what's going to happen, like, this is what, they'll get this, they'll get that, they'll, things like that. So I would just definitely try to let them know, like, the outcome, and like how they'll benefit and how their baby will benefit, just so they can continue. Because some be like, oh yeah, like, I'm in pain, it's not working for me. Like, oh, Similac will work. Like, though,
Yeah.
my niece or my little cousin
Mm-hmm.
uh are fine. They had Similac. There's nothing wrong with
Mm-hmm.
them. Like, what's the difference? But that's when all the, like, the facts and things will come in, and I'll try to, like, let them know, like, this, hey, like, don't give up. Like, this is what's going to happen. Like, your baby will be 10 times smarter. Like, their immune system will be amazing. Like,
Yeah.
their growth, everything.
Yeah.
Like, and it's not expensive to breastfeed. Like, it's free. Definitely. Like, if you don't have the means to buy Similac, which is like $30 a can,
Yeah,
possibly,
it's like
and
35 a can, I think.
they run through the cans. You can
Yeah.
just literally pay nothing, like, besides
Yeah.
the things that you'll need. But I don't know. I just
Listen, on the other side, we're gonna talk about something else about that Similac formula. We're gonna talk about that because
yeah.
there's a lot of conspiracy theories around it and this and that, and everybody talk about this. But I mean, yeah, we'll talk about it. Listen, we'll talk about it.
Okay.
I have a question, Khadijah. What
Wait,
other
wait,
than like,
wait, wait, wait. I
yeah,
want you to hold your question. We're gonna
sure.
come back after the break.
Oh,
Don't forget it. Don't forget it. Because I will
sorry.
forget the question in a heartbeat, but don't
Yeah,
forget it.
go ahead.
Oh, listen, fam, we're going to take a quick break. Remember, you can call us with your comments and questions at 844-844-1244. Again, it's 844-844-1244. You can also email us at jimmybondspodcast@gmail.com. Again, it's jimmybondspodcast@gmail.com. It's JIMMYBONDS podcast@gmail.com. You listen to Jimmy Bonds Podcast on Philadelphia Radio. We'll be right back.
Hey, this is Michael from Abu Dhabi. Listen to the Jimmy Bond podcast on Everyday Fair Radio.
The drama is the illest on Philadelphia Radio. What up?
Welcome back to the Jimmy Bonds podcast on Philadelphia Radio. We thank you for listening. Remember, family, you can call us at 844-844-1244. Again, that's 844-844-1244. You can also email us at jimmybondspodcast@gmail.com. Again, it's jimmybondspodcast@gmail.com. That's JIMMYBONDS podcast@gmail.com.
And welcome back to Jimmy Bonds Podcast and Philadelphia Radio. Remember, family, you can call us with your comments and questions at 844-844-1244. Again, it's 844-844-1244. You can also email us at jimmybondspodcast@gmail.com. Again, that's jimmybondspodcast@gmail.com. That's JIMMYBONDS podcast@gmail.com. And again, family, we are having a great discussion with Miss Khadijah Ali of Mama's Liquid Love, LLC. She's breaking down breastfeeding and how breastfeeding is done. We're throwing questions at her, but she's killing it right now, family. She's killing it. Before we went to break, Imani had a question. Go right ahead, Imani. My apologies.
I was curious, aside from pain, because I hear a lot of new breastfeeding moms go through like that, just the pain of like somebody on your breast all day. Aside from that, what are the like other complications of breastfeeding that women should be aware of? Because I feel like a lot of women, like being pregnant, they just go into the assumption that everything will work out fine.
Right.
They don't really know what to expect or potential complications. So what should women either be aware of or look out for?
That was me. Like when I was, my daughter named Suhaila. When I started out with Sue, like breastfeeding her, I was just pumping. So I thought, oh, you just pump. Like, it's just like, you just get all your milk out. But it's something called mastitis, which is like a breast infection from your milk ducts being engorged. So that's not like all the milk coming out. So like, I actually had that and I was just so confused with us. I was in pain. I was like balled up on the bed crying because it just hurt so bad. And this is just like me, like some months into breastfeeding, thinking everything was fine. I didn't think nothing like this could happen. And the signs are like a fever, like your breasts are very warm, a red spot. But the good thing is just like you have to still breastfeed. You still have to pump just to get the ducts from being engorged. So you have to release the milk. You can go to the doctor and they'll give you like a antibiotics just so it can help. Warm compresses, massages, things like that help the engorgement, everything like that. But that's like one big thing that women don't realize that can happen. Yeah, that's just like the major one. Not really too much more, like a major one, but that's like most important. That's a lot of moms don't know about.
Do you think most women are like discouraged from breastfeeding after a few months of trying because of the pain, or like, for example, what did you call it, mastitis? Or could be like other reasons where like I'm just gonna go.
Yeah, I think.
Or could you just talk about that more?
Yeah, I think it's more so in the beginning, because with my son, I think a couple days after, I forgot that like your breasts are in pain because your milk is basically figuring out like your whole body, like how to form and things like that, and kind of like how to basically form your breast. So like the pain is like really, really bad. And even with him, I'm like, do I really want to do this? Because like the pain was just like, and I forgot that it goes away fast. It's not like something that stays there for weeks. Is as long as you keep breastfeeding, and then it'll go away. But I'm sorry, I got off track. What was the other part of your question you said?
Just, I guess, what else would like discourage women from breastfeeding after like they attempt it?
I think a lot of women like to go out and like drink. And you still can breastfeed and drink. Like you still can go out. It's not like like I think that it's the pain and like the drinking and the partying is like oh I can't breastfeed and drink, so I'm not going.
So your baby not gonna be drunk. Your baby not gonna be
No,
drunk.
no, no, no. It's more so like a waiting game. You gotta wait it out. Like if you take a drink, you gotta wait like 2 to 3 hours, and then you'll be fine. They also have like these breast milk test strips. I had them. I think they worked for me. This was like back in 2016. And you just like test your milk. But I would also just do the waiting game. Like if you take one drink, wait 2 to 3 hours. It just depends on how much you drink and then how long you wait. I would still just pump the milk out just to get it out so you won't get mastitis or engorge. But yeah, I think that's the main two things. Like people want to go out and party and drink.
Shoot, after 9 months, the moms be like, "Let's turn up, let's get it."
Real,
turn
like
up.
they missed it. But your life changed now. Like you can't just turn up all the time. Like it's not saying you gotta stay home and be bored, but you can't turn out every weekend. I mean, turn up every weekend. Like you gotta chill a little bit.
You got dial back. Go ahead, Tab.
Khadijah, that brings me to a question that I was going to ask you as far as with drinking and also drugs. Does the drinking and drugs affect the production of a woman producing her milk?
Yes, it slows it up. Like smoking like weed or like cigarettes. Like anything like that can like
hold on, pause. She said she was
because I didn't know I didn't know what were you talking about? But yeah, things like that, like bad things like that can definitely affect your milk supply. So it's always best to stay away from that. The alcohol, it also can affect you, but not as much as the
hard drugs.
Yeah, like it's not
drugs.
And then it's just like, why would you do that? Like why would you do it? Like while you're breastfeeding? Like either you're gonna breastfeed and stay away from that, or like I don't know. I mean some people do it. Some people do smoke and drink and just still are successful. So it just depends on the mom again.
But it's not a recommendation.
Definitely not. Definitely
turn up.
Yeah, like no, sit down. Right.
No, I can dig it. I can definitely dig it. Do you deal with any of the partners in terms of, do you advise them on how to handle what's to be expected in that stage of breastfeeding? Like, because I mean, there's always stigmas that the dad's not in the picture, but of course that's not the case. You have some partners who are very, very much engaged in learning more about the process of breastfeeding and all that. Have you found that to be one of those things that there are men that are interested as well?
Yeah, one dad, and I always just suggest like the dad to be 100% supportive, like in any type of way, especially because there's a lot of changes going on with mom. So if that night she's pumping, like let you make the bottle or the milk she just pumped, and then maybe she can pump and get some rest because she still has to wake up as she would like if she's not breastfeeding a baby, just to get her milk out. But I would definitely suggest trying to have a schedule again, because it just works out, and then you don't have to have her nagging and like upset and like just the house just like chaotic just because you don't want to support her in her journey. Like it's not on top of her being a mom or a new mom or whatever her case may be. Like she's breastfeeding now, so it's a lot. Like it's really a job. It's not as simple as some people might make it seem. It's really it's not simple at all. It's not something where it's just like I said, like, oh, let me latch the baby and then that's it. No, it's a lot. That's why like a lot of women need to be educated like when it comes to breastfeeding, because it's not just a simple job. A lot comes with it.
I mean,
positive things.
You said yeah, right.
Yeah.
I mean, because I'm always wondering, like, for me it was different. I was very much in tune, trying to find out what's going on afterwards. How she's feeling. You know what I mean? That's just me. That's just the way I am now. Now, I'm not gonna say all dads are like that,
Mm-hmm.
but as much as you need to educate the moms, you got to educate the dads too.
Mm-hmm.
On just I guess, what to see, what to expect. I mean, there's no book for men on breastfeeding. There's no book for us to read. You know
Right.
what I mean? There's a lot of books for women to read, understand their bodies and their
Mm-hmm.
anatomies. And when I was talking to Imana the other day, we were both talking about how, like, we as men and women, we separate our anatomy, or understanding our anatomy, so that because that's just a woman. You're not supposed to understand that. So I
Right.
mean, what is it that you would say to a dad that's like, hey, look, I just want to know where I can get these resources, what I can know, what I can expect. What do you say to him? Because I'm just a curious person, just in
Mm-hmm.
general. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? And not a lot of people are curious like me. So, like, would you have like a pamphlet for them? Hey, read this. You know what I mean?
I could definitely like create some tips for dads that want to be more involved, but I don't know. Like you said, it's not really much out there for dads. Like if they want to read up to see what their partner is going through, just to help to be some type of support. There are things out there, and I also can answer questions if they have questions, but I gotta look that up, like try to figure out what's out there for dads, because it's not a lot, unfortunately, because there are like active dads like that want to be there and help the mom and help the baby and everything like that. It's said that they're downplayed, like it really is.
I think you mentioned a really good point though, Deej, because it's not a father's responsibility to feed the baby from their body, but it is or should be their responsibility to support however they can.
Yeah.
So like that could just be
The
I'm
main
taking the
thing.
baby right now, or I'm making the bottles, I'm doing this, or any other way I can help to make it easier on you.
Yeah.
Which is important. Like that's like they'll never be able to physically feed this baby. So like everything you can to support me and this child, I think is like the best, like the right answer.
Yeah,
Like you said it already.
even like feeding a baby while you take an hour shower, because some moms just want to stand in the shower and just like that's her break, like let the water run and just think about her day, or just have some time where you're not hearing the baby crying and things like that, and the dad can just warm up the milk and feed the baby and have some bonding time.
Yeah, I have a question. And I don't know if this is true, but maybe you could clarify. So, like when you're breastfeeding, I heard this recently, like you don't get your period as long as you're breastfeeding until you like wean the baby off. So, does that mean you're not fertile for that time?
So
I guess this is
no,
important
you
for moms and
still,
dads to know.
yeah, you still are able to get pregnant. You don't. So when you're
Okay.
breastfeeding, that happens to me also. I'm just like, after a little bit, I'm breastfeeding like consistently, like, and I'm like, where is my cycle? Like, this is just strange. Like, I had to go to the doctor because I have to figure out what's going on. And she informed me, like when you're breastfeeding consistently, you don't get your cycle. So that was something I was like, wow, like, so that's like a benefit to some women if they don't, while breastfeeding and you don't get your cycle. So that might be another reason why some might want to also breastfeed, but yeah, that's a fact. Like you don't, and you're still able to get pregnant. They say like it is kind of like a birth control breastfeeding, but it's still a possibility you can
Yeah.
another baby get pregnant.
Okay.
So that
So
means
be
don't be
careful.
plotting. Don't be
Yeah,
plotting,
yeah.
Ty.
I'm good. I am
I'm
done.
good.
Yep, done. I've had my share.
Yeah, listen, I say the same thing. I'm finished, bro. I'm finished. Here's a question for you. When the formula shortage happened, were you like, ha, that's why I told y'all. That's why you need to be breastfeeding. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'd have rubbed it in everybody's face. I kept telling y'all need to be
Yeah, like
breastfeeding. Y'all ain't want to listen to me. Not a formula shortage is here, and y'all sitting there out. You know what I mean?
that was kind of unfortunate because some moms aren't able to breastfeed like for certain situations. So it was kind of like, wow, like how is their baby going to eat if they don't have formula? So it was kind of like not like a aha moment, because unfortunately, like, some women aren't able to breastfeed, but that's another reason where it's like, yeah, if you're able to, you should, because things like this, like now, there's no formula in the market and you can't get none. Like, what are you going to do? So
And it's still going on too. They're not talking about it, but it's still a shortage.
Really?
It's still a major shortage. It's still a major
I feel as
shortage.
though that's done by design. It's
You think so,
just done
Ty?
by design. Yeah.
You think so?
You have that coinciding with now women doesn't have control of her body, where they're reverse the court decision, Roe versus
Roe v. Wade. Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
It just, I think it's designed. It's planned.
Yeah.
Because you've been making baby formulas for years.
That's right. So like, what's stopping it now? Like, what's the?
Right.
Yeah, that is true.
No, I don't know how long it lasts, but I'm sure they have stockpiles of it. But I don't know how long a baby formula powder lasts. But there's no way that there can be a shortage on it. That's done by design, supply and
Out of
demand. They just
nowhere.
cut the supply off, increase the demand.
Right.
Increase the price. That's all.
And it's a recession.
And it's a recession.
So
right?
there you go.
As they say, increase the price, cut the supply. Let these people, because they like, well, the government gonna pay for it anyway, right?
Right.
They don't think regular people pay for formula. They like, well,
they do.
on welfare. No,
America, like, we broke.
Right.
We ain't got it.
No, y'all do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? But go ahead,
Khadijah, I was doing some research. I was trying to do some research into a particular subject, but trying to pronounce this word properly. The colostrum in the breast, that I guess they say it's high in proteins and minerals for the baby.
Yeah. So that's like they call that like the liquid gold. I refer to breast milk as liquid love, just because that's just what I say. But they call that like liquid gold, because that's like the milk right before like your mature milk comes in. So it's like gold. It has like all the like nutrients, all the things your baby should have. Even if you are in the hospital and like you go home and you're not breastfeeding, I would still suggest that you like hand express or just let your baby, just so they can get those nutrients into their system, because that's like really important. Like, I wouldn't waste it in any type of way. Like, and the nurses in the hospital also suggested, like, they try to let you know, like, let's just try to, get this out any type of way. Well, they should if they don't, but that's like really, really an important factor when it comes to breastfeeding.
And that is the first milk that's produced inside the breast.
Yeah, and it comes even like when the baby is not here, it's good to kind of prepare to come out, basically like hand massages. And sometimes it might come out and you can store it depending on like how far you are in your pregnancy. But usually at the end of your pregnancy, you can start hand expressing to get that out and store it for your baby.
All right.
I can dig it. I can definitely dig it.
Yeah.
Listen, we gonna. she got this knowledge for us, Todd. There's so much I don't know.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? So much I don't know, and I'm learning. So we're gonna take a quick break. Family, remember, you can call us with your comments and questions at 844-844-1244. Again, it's 844-844-1244. You can also email us at jimmybondspodcast@gmail.com. Again, it's jimmybondspodcast@gmail.com. It's JIMMYBONDS podcast@gmail.com. You listen to the Jimmy Bonds podcast on Philadelphia Radio, the indie station for the indie nation. We'll be right back.
Hey, this is Michael from Abu Dhabi. Listen to the Jimmy Bonds podcast on Philadelphia Radio.
The drama is the illest on Philadelphia Radio. What up?
And welcome back to Jimmy Bonds podcast on Philadelphia Radio. Remember, family, you can call us with your comments or questions at 844-844-1244. Again, that's 844-844-1244. You can also email us at jimmybondspodcast@gmail.com. Again, it's jimmybondspodcast@gmail.com. It's JIMMYBONDS podcast@gmail.com. And again, family, we're interviewing the lovely Miss Khadijah Ali of Mama's Liquid Love LLC. She is definitely doing her thing, talking to us about breastfeeding. She's a breastfeeding certified specialist. Yes, she does her thing, family. She knows her stuff. So here's a question for you. I mean, with as much as breastfeeding has kind of tapered off what it used to be, do you think, I guess, people being more educated in the future, do you think that it'll pick up steam and become more of a thing that women do? or do you think it's just more like, well, the percentages are falling off and they're just going to continue to fall off for women who breastfeed?
I actually think that it'll pick up just because it's a lot of resources. There's a lot of people out there that help, a lot of platforms, like social media, like people I don't think we had this like years ago for them to learn and educate themselves. Like definitely like lactation specialists are good to have, just because sometimes you can't find information on the internet. So that's why we're here to help and educate. But I feel like it will pick up. I see a lot of moms breastfeeding, and I don't know, a lot of people more than like a couple years ago, a lot of people weren't breastfeeding. Like when I had my daughter, I didn't. A lot of people that were pregnant around the same time as me wasn't breastfeeding. Like if I would find out, like, oh no, I'm not breastfeeding, I'm some like that's what I choose. But I feel
Yeah.
like there's a lot of information and things like here out there, a lot of things out here to help educate moms for them to want to breastfeed, like the benefits and things like that. So I think it'll pick up.
I mean, it's just one of those things you just wonder, like, well, you have those moms who are just earthy,
Hmm.
ready to hug a tree,
Yep.
and will just be like, I'm, I'm sorry, I'm just when you think of breastfeeding, right?
Hmm.
The ideal mom is you picture this white mom with long hair and she's like hippie style. She's about to hug a
Hmm.
tree. She got a
Yeah.
baby on her nipple. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
that's
Yeah.
what you think, and it's
Hmm.
not like that. You know what I
Mm-mm.
mean? It's moms of all walks of life
Definitely.
who are on this journey. You know what I mean? So that was my question. So even in the Black community, do you feel like with education and counseling and I guess advising on just tricks of the trade, do you think that the Black community will pick this up more and make it a resource for more moms?
Yep. Yes. I believe so, and that's why I'm here too, because I want to help educate Black women. I want to help them know that breastfeeding is the way to go. Like everything that like Similac and things like that. Like if you have to, but breastfeeding, I want to let them know like this is what you need to do. Like this is not just something that other cultures or other ethnicities. This is not just for them. Like this is for us too. Like we do the same thing they do. And it's kind of like not looked at as like a benefit because like a lot of people are not educated. So I just feel like like let's educate other women. Like let's help them. Let's teach them because it's I don't know the resources are there, like, and I'm one of them. So like that's
No
why I
doubt.
kind
Go,
of
go support her business.
yeah, like I don't know. That's why I'm here.
No doubt.
I that just I'm sorry to
No,
interrupt.
go ahead. You good. You
I
good.
just had a thought though that breastfeeding can be like a form of a luxury.
Hmm.
So some women, and
Yes.
especially speaking of like the Black community, like women have to work. They gotta pay their bills, or they might not have a supportive partner around, so they don't have time.
Hmm.
Which breastfeeding takes time, and therefore it can be a luxury. What I guess healthy alternatives
Hmm.
would you suggest? Like if they have to breastfeed, I mean, if they have to
Supplement.
like use formula, yeah. Like what
Yeah.
is like some clean brands or like just healthy alternatives that maybe those women who don't
Hmm.
have the luxury, like what can they do?
Um, I don't. I don't really like look into that too much, like the formula, um,
Hmm.
because once like a mom is not able, like unable to breastfeed, and like my certification doesn't give me the like okay to tell a mom like, oh, you're not able to breastfeed because that's like a higher
Right.
level. So
Hmm.
I can't really say what's the best supplement, but I recommend like a soy supplement, like Similac soy. That's like not like milk produced, like as far as like cow and like that kind
Hmm.
of but yeah, I would say like a soy supplement, like Similac soy. Then if you don't want to do that, I did Similac advance. I had to because like with my daughter, my milk dried up, and then after that, we were just like almond milk, soy milk. Like we didn't do like regular like vitamin D milk and things like that.
Like cow's milk.
Yeah. So if you don't want to go that route, if you're not like into like the cow's milk, I would suggest like a soy, like a soy supplement. Say, I hope that answered your
They're
question.
like
Yeah.
plant-based milks. Those stores are like
Yeah,
plant-based
like things like
milks. Okay. You also mentioned about the shortage in the pandemic. The question is, when that pandemic came, as far as the baby formula shortage, do you know if women would turn into like mothers' milk banks or like milk banks to get milk?
So yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm not 100%. I didn't have any like moms let me know like, hey, I'm going to go to a donor's bank, but I'm pretty sure that's why they're there. Especially if a mom can't produce milk, so they'll just go to the donor bank. Some will probably get milk from there, or also moms donate their breast milk there. But I'm pretty sure some moms, like me personally, I never had that as an option. Like I don't know. But that's why they're there. So if a mom, wants to supplement in that way, not like a formula supplement, they can go to the donor bank and, figure out how they can get the milk for their baby.
Is that expensive?
I'm not 100% sure, and I would have to look that up. I don't know the pricing. Some might not even cost because it's a donation. So some might be free. I gotta look that up.
And with that being said, with breast milk, can it be frozen for later use?
Yeah.
Or
So a lot of that's why. Oh my gosh, I have a tragedy. I had a tragic story happen. So like I had an oversupply with my daughter. This is me not being educated. Like I was just pumping and sleeping. I would eat like my mom. I was living with my mom at the time, and like she would be mad at me because that's all I did was like pump, feed my daughter, and sleep. Like I would probably eat one meal a day, which was not good. But my milk was coming in, so like I would have enough of bottles for her. I would have enough to also put in the freezer. So I had a whole freezer full of milk, a whole freezer full. And then like it was a extra freezer in the basement at the time. So then my mom had someone come over like Pico to do some work with like the electricity and things like that. And they unplugged, I think I was away for the time for like a couple of days. They unplugged the freezer. I came back and it was unplugged and all my milk was in there. And I don't know how long it was unplugged for, but like all my milk, like I had a freezer full of milk, all my milk went bad. And I was just so upset. And they're like, yeah, we can give you money back. I'm like, what are you going to give me money for? Like, it's nothing. Like, you want to pay for the milk storage bags, and they did give me money. I'm like, this is not. So that was just a story I had real quick. But yeah, so
it can't be replaced though. That's the thing.
Yeah,
that's pretty much what you're saying now.
It was so sad, and I was so upset because maybe like if I still had that milk at the time, I would have been able to continue my journey breastfeeding her with that milk. But it was just like once my milk dried up, I didn't have a stash anymore.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, once you're pumping, you can also like latch your baby and then also pump and store some in the freezer for up to 6 to 12 months. And that's how you create your stash. Like you want to go on vacation, you want to go out, you need a babysitter, you always have that to work with.
Okay.
Thinking about that is just so devastating. Like I was so upset.
She got triggers, Ty. I'm so sorry.
I was so upset.
Nah, I mean, I get it. I get it. Where do you see Mama's Liquid Love? Where do you see it in the next 5 years? Where do you see yourself?
Oh my gosh, I want it to be big. I want like our own like space. I want moms to be able to just come in and just like mingle with other moms, share their stories. I want to have employees that's doing the same thing as me. I just want to be able to help as many milky mamas as I can and just get bigger. Like, and it's not even about just like getting paid or anything like that. I just want to like just get out there just to help. Like, I just, yeah, that
When
passion.
do you recommend mothers come to see you? Like the third trimester after the baby's born?
Uh, yeah, I would say the third trimester. Like, even if it's not, then like as soon as possible after you have the baby, just so we can come up with a plan and just so we can figure out what you want to do. Like, if you want to breastfeed for a year, 6 months, 3 months, and then we can figure out how to make the journey successful. So sometimes you can come, well, you can come like at your third trimester, like when you're almost about to give birth, and that's when we can try to start like hand expressing your milk to get some of that colostrum out to store that for you. So yeah, I would suggest like the third trimester or like right after the baby is born.
Miss Khadijah,
Yes.
do you feel as though our younger women need more education on pregnancy and breastfeeding even before they become mothers, or is that something you would reserve for them when they become one?
I would say it's always good to learn about like your body basically before, because a lot of women like get pregnant unexpectedly, so and then they're just like lost, like, oh, I don't know what to do. So it's always good to learn about like your body and what your body can do before you actually, get to that stage in your life where you're like, oh, like I'm not educated on breastfeeding. Like, I don't know anything about this. I'm just going into it. So at least you can have some of the basic knowledge before you become pregnant. So I would say, yeah, like educate yourself, like read books, do research. You can even get on TikTok and Instagram and like see some things. Like, the internet is full of information. And then you can also like just like I do free consultations, like phone consultations, even if you just want to ask questions if you're not pregnant. So I can always answer questions for you.
Can I add to that, Deej, that I feel like it's important for men and women, boys and girls, to know about their bodies at like as they're going through puberty. Like, it's so
Yes.
important for us to know, because we're all human beings. So it's so important for us to know like how it works, what it can do, what we shouldn't be doing, and like safety around it. And then when we do try to reproduce, or if it just so happens that we're reproducing,
Yeah.
we know how to go about it, and we just know. It's better to know than not know, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Especially about your anatomy and physiology. So
even at a young age, like I try to teach Sue like certain things about her body and what, when she get older, not too much into detail because she's only 6, but like just at that age, educating like kids, because they don't know, and they'll learn like certain things they shouldn't be learning from like kids at their school. And it's like, yeah, and it's like, well, where are you learning this from? Like, why? But just like the basic details, you definitely should just like inform your kids.
Yeah, no, I think we should, because they trying to make it so that you can't, the kids won't learn in school anymore about these issues. They're trying to make it so that, like, you know what I mean? Even just saying one word is against the law. Not in this state, but they trying to make it regulatory across the country. But it's kind of like you have to know these things about, I'm always shocked to be like, you don't want to know what's going on with your partner's body. That's kind of weird. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you don't want to know that she's healthy or he's healthy on the other end. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and I don't mean healthy in the sense because I'm saying like that they're okay.
Right.
That they whatever they might be dealing with or battling with, that you're working through it with them. It takes a certain kind of patience to understand that. It takes a certain kind of like you have to think more maturely than what people are seeing. Like, we're all superficial and shallow sometimes, so you got to kind of weed through that and get down to the nicks and the grunts of what's going on. You know what I mean? Like I said, I had 2 kids. I watched her go through it on both times. I'm like, well, it's kind of crazy. You sure you want to breastfeed? Hold up, you sure? You sure you want to do this? Like, I do it with you, but I'm watching you and I'm looking at what's going on with you, and your face don't look like you want to do this. So it's kind of like it's kind of like just having the patience to understand what she might be feeling and what she might be going through. And like Monty, you're right. Like we don't care. We're just like, I'm a dude, you're a girl, you got your things, I got mine. We ain't
Right.
talking about it. We ain't never gonna talk about it.
Right.
I ain't never gonna figure out what's going on with you. You ain't never gonna figure out what's going on with me. So I think that's vital. I think it's important that we have those conversations. I think it's important. I definitely do. And as we go on, where can people find you at?
So right now I'm creating my website. It's not up and running yet, but right now I can be reached through email at mamasliquidlovellc@gmail.com, and also on Instagram at mamasliquidlove. You can send me emails, DMs, anything, just basic questions, whatever. I'm here. I'm always checking. So, yeah.
Definitely. Ty, you want to say something to Khadijah before we let her go?
I thank you for the information that you gave me today.
No problem.
I'm just thankful for it. So some things I didn't know, and now I know.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Imani?
Thanks for doing this, and everybody go follow her on Instagram and support her business. And yeah.
Yes.
I also have an ebook coming out. It should be out this week, and it just has like a lot of information about breastfeeding, like a lot of stuff that I didn't go into detail with you guys. It's in the book, so that should be out this week sometime.
What's the name of the book?
A Milky Mama's Journey to Breastfeeding.
I'm
sorry, A Milky Mama's Guide to Breastfeeding.
Oh yeah.
So it's good.
Definitely look out. Listen, I advise all the moms out there, ones that have kids or thinking about having children, to go get her book, check it out. I bet you'll be enlightened on so many different things. I'm thankful for you coming on tonight or today, because it's vital that we understand all the ins and outs of this. I'm a dad. I have a daughter. And at some point, she might have kids. You know what I mean? At some point, she might be like, yo, daddy, I'm breastfeeding now.
Right.
And not that her mom can't tell her, but what happens if she can't reach her mom? I should know too, right?
Right.
I should be able to be educated and say, hey, baby girl, look, you might want to try this. Or your ducts might be blocked. You might need to figure that out. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things where I as much as people kind of be like, well, what are you doing talking about breastfeeding? Why not?
Right. That definitely. Like, why not? Like,
why am I not? Why would I not talk about breastfeeding? It's the oldest form of nurturing your child when they're first born. Formula cannot replace that. It cannot supplement it, and it can't give the same type of nurturing and care that breastfeeding does. When a woman has a baby, the first thing they want to do is have the baby latch, or they put the baby on her chest, skin to skin, so she can have that experience, or the baby can know that they're there, and they feel it, they get used to it. New beginnings. So I think it's important that we get the education about why that is, what happens, what to expect, what not. What maybe you haven't seen, and then we also communicate with each other about what's going on. You know what I mean? Yo, bro, like, yo, she going through this. Have you experienced this before? Nah, man, I experienced that, but I can tell you, I've seen this before. You know what I mean? Like, we need to talk about these things so that we continue the dialogue to educate each other, because just like anything else, marketing, anything else, word of mouth is important. And if I get some information from someone I trust, I'm going to value it.
Definitely.
So that's why I'm greatly appreciative of you coming on and sharing all your expertise
and
everything you know about breastfeeding. Remember, family, please check her out, Mama's Liquid Love, on Instagram at Mama's Liquid Love, Mama's Liquid Love, LLC@gmail.com. Please check her out. Go do her. Listen, she got some knowledge. She got some stuff. She knows her stuff.
It's MOMMA.
MOMMA. Mamas. She knows her stuff. You got people sometimes that be like, girl, I'm a certified breastfeeding specialist. You'd be like, yeah, so tell me about it. They don't know nothing. You just like, come on, man. Like, so she knows her exactly. But she knows her stuff, family. She's definitely great at this, and she's growing. So that's the most important thing, and the most You know what I'm saying? Like, so congratulations, Khadijah.
you so
Congratulations
much.
to what you're doing.
Thank
Khadijah's
you.
like a family member to me now. I know her sisters, at least 3 of them. I know her kids. I met her kids. Her son and my son have the same birthday. So Khadijah definitely says we greatly appreciate you. Much love to you. Definitely, big ups in your journey. And we definitely gonna follow back and run back and see what you got going on later on.
Yes.
Right?
I appreciate it. Thanks so much, yo.
Oh no, Khadijah. We greatly appreciate you coming on. So family, listen, that's going to wrap the show. Remember, family, you can call us with your comments or questions at 844-844-1244. Again, that's 844-844-1244. You can also email us at jimmybondspodcast@gmail.com. Again, that's jimmybondspodcast@gmail.com. It's JIMMYBONDS podcast@gmail.com. And again, family, remember to please, let's spread love, not hate. Let's spread truth, not lies. Make sure you call somebody that you haven't spoken to in a while and tell them that you love them, because you never know that you might get another chance. I'm Jimmy Bonds, my sister Imani, my sister Khadijah, my brother Ty. We out. Peace.
Fam, that's going to wrap the show. We want to thank you for listening to Jimmy Bond's podcast on Philadelphia Radio. We ask you leave your comments and questions at 844-844-1244. Again, that's 844-844-1244. You can also email us at jimmybondspodcast@gmail.com. Again, that's jimmybondspodcast@gmail.com. That's JIMMYBONDS podcast@gmail.com. Now remember, family, we are still in the COVID-19 pandemic, so please remember to wash your hands, wear a mask, and practice social distancing. Also, remember to take nothing for granted and value every opportunity you have with your friends, your family, and your loved ones. For in these times, every moment is sacred. So until the next episode, you can find me on Good Hope Road, screaming, stay up, don't sleep in your dreams. I'm Jimmy Bonds, and I'm out. Fight on, come on.